Welcome one and welcome all to what looks like a Lugia V-Star mirror. Big surprise, Lugia V-Star is still one of the best decks of the format going into the E-Block and on standard format with Scarlet and Violet legal. Yes, rotation has happened for this tournament that has previously taken place in Japan. I hope everybody has been liking the daily uploads so far. I was kind of pushing out the North American regionals as fast as possible, uploading multiple times a day, although I do personally like this one upload a day with the new format, looking into the future a little bit. Only a couple weeks in the future as of this point, but I am very excited for those couple weeks in the future. We do have single strike energies that are replacing the powerful and rainbow energies. There are lots of different ways to build the Lugia V-Star deck. It is not very cookie cutter anymore. The most cookie cutter variation of it is this single strike build where you use a couple Tyranitar Vs and a couple Stone Journer single prize ones that are all single strike with the single strike energies. You can also play, as we saw in a previous round, Duraludon VMAX in it, because single strike Pokemon do have an Aurora-like energy of their own, a rainbow energy of their own, as well as the single strike energies. And you could just play it straight up colorless with Blissey. You can play Lucky Energies and Gift Energy so that when your Pokemon gets knocked out, you can just draw until you have like 10 cards in your hand. It's like pretty great. Yeah, just all sorts of different ways. And the fact that there is a little bit more variety makes the format a little bit more fun. I do like a centralized meta from time to time, but we've had a very centralized meta for quite a few months now. So I would like something that's a little less centralized to vary it up. And then maybe in a few months we can go back to a very centralized meta. You know what I mean? I like being able to look at one card in an opponent's deck and know what their exact 60 is. However, sometimes it's just fun to play against something new. A little bit off the wall. So we are heavily checking our prize cards here. That's not something that a lot of Japanese players do because they only have 30 minutes for best of one. Looks like he did prize one Archeops, and that's really the only thing of note really for both players. It looks like both players did prize one Luminion. They will have access to an additional one, so not really that big of a deal. Maybe if you were against a control match, you want to have both Luminion in deck in order to loop them and make sure your energies are never actually in play. But yeah, we did see a gift energy attached for the Lugia on the left and then pass. Then we are going in with the... Looks like we failed the Nest Ball, and now we're going in with the Capturing Aroma. We flipped Tails. I always forget which result goes for what, but you flip a coin. If heads, you either get a basic Pokemon or an evolution, and then for tails, you get the other one. Don't remember which is which. So he flipped Tails. Tails is the basic Pokemon. So that means heads is grab an evolution Pokemon. So we are going to bench a Lugia V. We did fail that Nest Ball just to see what was in our deck. Already had the second Lugia V in hand to be able to bench, so we did not need to do anything of that sort. Goes with the Luminion that he got off the Capturing Aroma in order to play Judge, force your opponent to have a 4-card hand. Has not really done all that much. Needs a Lugia V-Star on this next turn, so by having only 4 cards in hand, that's going to make things quite a lot harder. I do believe there is at least one Archeops in the discard pile for him. Kind of went off on that tangent during his first turn, so did not quite see what got discarded or how. I do apologize for that. Yeah, there is an Archeops in the discard pile for him, at the very least. Maybe 2. And we are going to see Read the Wind discarding an Archeops for this player on the right. So, pretty solid turn 1 here. We do have the Lugia V-Star, a Nest Ball, but no ways to draw cards. So are we going to see... No, it is. We did Ultra Ball to get 2 Archeops in the discard pile. So that Judge was very good from the opponent. However, it did not end up working because this player did still find the Lugia V-Star. We do see a judge call. Not quite sure why. Oh, he dropped a card. Gotcha, gotcha. So he dropped a card onto his lap, called a judge over just to pick up the card off of his own lap, just to, you know, negate any thoughts that he had cheated, which I think is a cool thing. I think that's a great way to do that, utilizing the judges for that kind of use. However, it was right on his lap and it was a female judge. So, I would have been like, can I pick the card up and then just verify it with the judge that that was the card I dropped and like pick it up myself? I think that's more the appropriate way to go about that, but you could get in trouble for things like that over here at least. So we are going to see the Primal Turbos come out from these two Summoning Starred out Archeops to get some energies onto this Lugia. It looks like we have multiple gift energies. You can only really draw up to 7 with 1 gift energy. The other ones don't really do you too well, so not sure if this is a deck that uses lucky energies. Looks like that might be 2 V-Guard energies and 2 gift energies, which is fine because your Pokemon is only using colorless energies to attack anyway, so might as well leave those single strike energies for later when you have a single strike Pokemon in play. You don't want to waste them too early. Especially since you only have so many urns to be able to shuffle them back into the deck. The Urn of Vitality can shuffle 2 single strike energies from your discard back into your deck. So we are going to take the knockout. We're going to hit for 220. The player on the right does draw 1 off of the lucky energy that he had attached on his turn. Not quite as good as gift energy, but this might be a Blissey version since he does have that, but I don't know. Maybe he's playing single strike as well. Oh, looks like the coin went on the floor, so he's going to reflip. Does flip heads for the Mesa Gosa Stadium that was just put into play. Each turn, the active player can flip a coin, and if heads, search their deck for a Pokemon. That's it. That's the tweet. That's the card. So we are going to look through our deck probably for the Lugia V-Star. We do have at least 1 Archeops in discard. We might also be able to get an Archeops if we have an Ultra Ball in hand. Can discard that Archeops and then get the Lugia V-Star that way. So it all depends on what is in his hand, what he is exactly going for. Looks like we're going to go for the Archeops, so probably have that Ultra Ball ready. There it is. That is the League Cup Ultra Ball. Not for them, for us. A lot of their cards are just printed in side sets when they're alternate art like that, but we get some nice League promos for those, or at least it used to. A little disappointed in the fact that the new promo packs that we get do not have any sort of unique arts. They're just straight up reprints with the exact same art of cards that we have already seen in the past with just a stamp on them. But I guess that helps keep the cost of them a little bit lower, so, you know. Pros and cons to that. We do have the Summoning Star is going to get out the double Archeops. Did also discard a Professor Burnett with that Ultra Ball as well. The Burnett is usually only useful for getting those 2 Archeops in the discard pile, so if you already have them in there, you don't need to play Burnett. So pretty good discard there. Although late in the game, you could always Burnett a couple of dead item cards or Pokemon out of your deck. So that's not too bad. Also, this stream has been glitching with this like green bar that keeps showing up. I'm sure you guys have noticed it, but that's not me, that's them. Not quite sure why. But anyway, we're going to use our first Primal Turbo. We're going to get V-Guard energy and double Turbo. So we are only going to be hitting for 200 with this Lugia. Still need 1 more energy. Probably have that just in hand. Might be able to use the second Primal Turbo to just charge up one of the Archeops or the Luminion on the bench, just to either have a pivot or potentially attack with them in the future. Or maybe we just won't use the second Archeops. I think that I would like to at least see 1 energy gum down to an Archeops, so that you can potentially retreat in the future, or down to the Luminion. But nope, we are not going to use that second Archeops, and we are just going to hit for 200 here. Pretty substantial damage, not too bad. And gonna go into the opponent's turn where they might just hit for 220 and pass. It would be really nice to see a Boss's Orders or a Serena come down to that Luminion V. And then maybe load up a big Tyranitar on a future turn to one-shot the Lugia V-Star. I think that might be possible. I gotta read the damage output on Tyranitar V again to see. Tyranitar V, that's the Fusion Strike set one. I want the Single Strike Pokemon one. Yeah, so it does 240, discard the top 4 cards of your deck. If you put 2 Single Strike energies and any other 2 energies, you do 280. So you would one-shot a Lugia V-Star. You would need the Choice Belt just because of the fact that there is a... Well, you'd either need a Choice Belt or you'd need all 4 powerful color... power... Single Strike energies, if I can talk right. Yeah, so you could just put all 4 Single Strike energies on it and do 10 more than you need to in order to shred through that V-Guard energy and knock the Lugia out. So it depends on what the prize cards are looking like for this player on the left. If he has access to all the Single Strike energies in deck, he would be able to just take a knockout. He could just retreat, maybe discard those gift energies, but no, looks like this first Primal Turbo is only getting 1 gift energy. Ooh, that means that there are not the 4 Single Strike energies in deck. You cannot take the one shot unless you have a Choice Belt. Looks like we are going to go for a single Strike energy as well with that Archeops. But yeah, it looks like that unless there is a Choice Belt in hand, we are probably not going to be seeing the one shot here. Would love to see the Boss or Serena, but since this player is taking a little bit of time for their turn, they probably don't have any of those options available to them this turn. And honestly, even if you had the Serena, you would knock out the Luminion, but if you had the Boss's Orders, it would honestly be better to just knock out an Archeops, because then you could prevent your opponent from potentially being able to respond with their own Tyranitar V if they are playing that version. I think there might be a Single Strike energy on this Lugia V-Star. It's hard to tell with that, or maybe that's regenerative energy. It's so hard to tell when they're stacked this close together like that. But we do use the second Primal Turbo to get a second Single Strike energy onto the Tyranitar. So we can use Cragalanche. We would do 100 and then discard the top 2 cards of your opponent's deck. Not too bad, but we do actually see the Boss's Orders brings up the Luminion, takes the knockout for 2 prize cards. And yeah, now all that is needed is the Tyranitar to knock out this Lugia in one shot. So we'll have to see if the opponent is forced to put another Luminion down. That would be, yet again, another good play here. But you could... well, that would be a good play for the opponent, because then they would Boss or Serena to knock it out and win the game. Yeah, it's looking a little one-sided here from the one that has the Tyranitar in play. So what's likely going to happen this turn is that the Lugia will take the knockout on the damaged Lugia, and then you just hope that the opponent doesn't have the 2 Single Strike energies in deck, didn't bluff you, and or just the Choice Belt in hand, right? Because he could always just have the Choice Belt in hand. Some of these Lugia decks do play Arven that would search out an item and a tool card for you, so you would be able to get the Choice Belt that way. There are a vast majority of the decks in format do still play a lot of V Pokemon, so Choice Belt is not that bad of a card in these new formats here. The Miraidon EX deck does play for Regieleki VMAX. These Lugia decks still play a ton of V Pokemon. Mew only lost Quick Ball, just replaces it with 3 Nest Ball, 1 Feather Ball. So it is still at almost full power still, which is absolute insanity. The only thing is like Lost Box that the Choice Belt doesn't really help against. But even still, the best versions of Lost Box still play Dragonite and Raikou. So it's still not the worst card against them either. The only thing it doesn't really do anything against is the Gardevoir decks. And they're just a little bit less consistent because they are so reliant on the rare candy and evolving over the course of 2 turns up from Ralts into Kirlia into Gardevoir. Getting multiple Gardevoirs set up so that you have both Shining Arcana and the EX in play in order to get the most out of your energies. But we are just going to start charging up our dudes. We have an Archeops all charged up, and now we're going to start charging up this Tyranitar V. So yeah, again, the hope is that your opponent does not have the 2 single strike energies available to them. So they did take another 2 prize cards. They would still have to have at least 1 single strike energy or choice belt left in their prize cards in order to, well, or both, in order to guarantee that this Tyranitar cannot take the knockout. But no, actually going to retreat. Very smart play here. Is going to make sure that only a 1 prizer is in the active spot. Is going to be able to take the knockout with the Archeops just doing 120 damage. Has even a gift energy on there, so we can draw up to 7 if this Archeops goes down. Is going to force yet another boss's orders out of here. But as long as this player has it, he boss's orders the Tyranitar, and just as I say it, he does so. Uses the second attack on Tyranitar V, Single Strike Crush, for 280 to one-shot that 230 HP Tyranitar V that was just benched from the player on the right. And this player on the left is definitely moving on to top 16 here. Because this is round 5, the final round of Swiss, I do believe is how that is working here. So we will have to see if all of these rounds are actually in order today. I do believe that they are because, let's see, top 16, top 8 for finals. So we might be seeing multiple of certain rounds, or maybe they're going to fill in, but I don't know. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got at least 7 matches left. 8 matches. Oh boy, 8 matches left. Cool. So anyways, guys, as always, do not forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Hit that little notification bell to make sure that you are notified when new videos from me go live. Usually have one go up every single day, so always be checking back here on YouTube. If you are enjoying it, if you made it this far, you might as well be subscribed because you either really like me or you really hate me. And there's no in between. And check that description box down below for all of the socials, the links to the Twitch and the Discord and all of that good stuff, and we will see you guys next time.